Oh, yeah.
Okay. We are recording, so we can talk about the beginning.
Alright.
Hello, everyone. I am Big Stupid.
Clearly, seeing as you just won that battle.
We're not going to talk about that. That's not this week. Welcome to Superweek Power Rankings with Python, Zach, and Bobby.
Also known as the Carb Coalition.
Yes, also known as the Carb Coalition, minus Stigny, RIP.
Couldn't make it from fucking Rogers.
We're just going to be running over our power rankings for everyone after Super Week and giving our thoughts on potentially their teams, their play style, and see what happens in the future.
Without further ado, these rankings, by the way, the final rankings that we'll be speaking to are an average of our three individual rankings.
And because of that, they are no longer just our opinions, they are ground truth.
They are objective facts, and if you disagree, you're fucking wrong.
Fucking wrong, you're fucking stupid. Anyway, coming in at a unanimous number 16, we have my own brother Evan Schroeder and the LA Cloisters.
Unfortunately, the better Schroeder is currently doing worse.
It is very unfortunate to see the natural order of things being upset, because he is taller than me, so you would think he should be doing better.
What a Chad. He's done.
On a serious note, it is unfortunate to see Evan not showing the same great promise that he showed in the last split we played in, where I think he went 5-5.
4 and 6, 5 and 5, but a strong showing.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a bad show.
Much better than he's on pace right now.
That's true. Yeah.
I think kind of a microcosm of what I've seen from him this season was early on in his first game against Danny, had a golden opportunity to sack something to Tabakoko and then come in and revenge kill Tabakoko with Wobbuffet, but instead switches in the Wobbuffet and it's too weak to kill with Miko.
Yeah. His games, I feel like, have been getting closer, though. At least the last two are both 3-0s, I think.
Yeah.
So,
But on a whole, his differential's minus 17 through 4 games.
Yeah, and he has lost all 4 games. I think he's the only person to do that thus far, right?
That's true. He's also playing Tickle this week.
Yeah.
Not
going to be a fun time for Evan.
no.
Unless
one LA team can upset the other LA team.
I mean, all I have to say is that Noel has been proven to be Tickle's kryptonite, and Tickle has lost to tier 4s in the past quite often, so if there's anyone that could do it, it's going to be him.
We'll have to see if Tickle's big brain is perhaps too big this next week.
And is there any other thoughts that you want to bring to the table? Anything specific for Super Week or about the team in general?
No, I mean, I try to stay positive and say that there's still time to kind of recover your season, but given how strong that conference is and how strong Tickle is, I mean, getting a win this week really isn't feasible, and at that point, being out of 5.
I mean, playoffs is definitely still on the table through the wild card, but he has to start winning.
He'd have to win out right now.
Yeah, and start winning big, too, to make up some points in differential.
Definitely. I'd also like to say, while we're on the topic of conferences, that Armor Conference is a complete fucking joke compared to Crown Conference.
Hey now!
As the two people in Armor Conference, we would like to say, fuck you.
Alright, well, I'll take it, but take a look at the standings and tell me that I'm wrong, because I'm not.
Moving on.
Moving on.
In the penultimate slot, we have none other than Michael Burke and his Marcel Maywiles.
Is it Marseille? I don't know.
Something French, something European weed.
Something.
It's soccer team now.
It's a city in France. God knows how you say it.
I'm gonna keep it a little out of everyone who has been hacked. I think Mike has had it the least bad because me, Bobby, and Zach.
Definitely Python and Bobby have had the worst of it, I would argue.
Bobby's probably the worst than me. But, you know, out of all these teams, I believe Mike has one win, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Out of all these teams with one win that have been hatched out of like 2 or 3, Mike's had multiple chances to win games that he just throws.
He completely tossed it against Nanda.
Yeah. I mean, the game against Tyler could have been good, but he kind of put himself in a really fucking awful position against that season.
That's true. I'm not sure how I feel about not bringing Recover on Toss Effects. I feel like that was a huge oversight because that would have won him the game pretty handily.
And I don't know why you wouldn't bring Recover on your bulkiest mon.
Yeah.
It'd be like not bringing Wish on a level. Like, there's just, like, yeah, you can do it. It has Regenerator, it has lefties, but like, why would you do that when you don't have to?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I see the temptation, but I feel like practically it just isn't worth it.
Now, all of that said, Mike is still in a pretty decent position in the division, given that he had a 5-0 win against me, and he still has a game against Swan in Week 6. So winning that game would put him at 2-1 in the division, and he'd have a strong footing to make a run at it later in the season.
That's true. That division has been probably the most balanced, but also the biggest shit show in terms of the games. So if there's any division where you can make a comeback in, so that'd be the one.
I mean, I feel like I'm trying to do a 40-yard dash with a broken foot and a broken leg.
Yeah.
At
But
this
you can
rate.
still do it as the thing.
Oh, totally.
Because everyone else has a broken.
Everyone else is just fucking in a wheelchair.
Tune in to part 2 of this season. Watch 4 Nuggets try and run a 40-yard dash.
Anything else to be said about Michael?
He needs to start playing some stall. He has a team that's tailor-made to play some stall, and if he did it, he would have better luck, I think.
Either you fully commit to the stall, or you semi-stall it up, bring like a banded bikini and 4 stall on, and just watch as they try to break your stall while you pivot into bikini. Anything else? No.
I don't think so.
That's it. Next up, at number 14, we have Henry Bird and Las Vegas Lichen Rocks.
To interject here, it's worth noting that, and maybe we'll put this as a graphic, but down this low there was actually a bit of variation in how we rank things. So Henry averages out to 14th, but I ranked him 15th, Zach ranked him 14th, and Tyson ranked him 11th.
Yeah, my reasoning for the 11 is because the tier 1s that are currently in the 1-3 range have all been fucking disappointing to watch, and that includes myself. So I would like to say that you know, if they can pick up the pace, obviously they're going to have a much better chance of catching up in the season. But until I can see that happen, I have more faith in people with an easier schedule than the ones that have a hard schedule and are already fucking up this early.
That's true. That's certainly true. And I also ranked Henry lower because I was thinking about people's conferences and their divisions, and Henry is in Crown Conference. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be hard for him to win a playoff spot, given that me, Dave, and Quinn are all vying for the 3 wildcard spots. That's not to say he can't do it.
It's doable, it's just going to be very difficult to do, especially since it's already lost to you. I think he plays the standard, one of them.
Quinn.
Quinn, just because it's different, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he makes Quinn. And it's going to be hard to do, and while it is doable per se, it's not doable at the current rate of play. That game against Tesla was a fucking nightmare. League 1, and while that was his worst game by far, I don't think he's been playing much better week after week.
I think Quinn is a tier 2, just if I can this week, because he played Patrick and me.
Tier 3 goes to tier 3.
No, that's correct then. And Dan, I think tier 3 and goes by Henry.
Dane is a tier 3 because he's in the same division as Pickle, but
Yes.
yeah.
Now it's worth noting that although these rankings don't take this into account, he did beat Ben in week 5.
That's true, which is a huge step in the right direction.
Which is, personally for me, it shouldn't influence this, but that is why I currently have him higher than Ben.
Yeah, I mean,
Understandably so, and if we were taking that into account, I would have him higher than Ben too.
Yeah.
To be foolish not to.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ben, unless there's more to say.
No, I mean that's it.
So speaking of Ben, he ranks next.
13, and I think this is a
This
pretty
is a unanimous 15th
yeah.
for Hong Kong Bronzos.
Such a good name.
Great name. Ben should be win this right now. I'll say it.
Winning or
Win less.
Win this?
He did hacks out Bobby the first week in his sole win. If we're counting his battle with Henry, he did lose the play, or he did miss the play rough on Winsicott, but I don't think that was going to automatically win him the game.
That's just karmic justice, so yeah.
That's how it goes.
You take a win with hacks, you lose a win with hacks.
Hacks giveth and hacks taketh away.
Yes, sir.
That's how it goes.
I mean, Ben, in my opinion, because when I was doing these preseason power rankings based on the teams, the one that got corrupted, I said that Ben has one of the top 5 teams that were drafted, and he has not lived up to that hype at all.
I completely agree. I had a bitch of a time prepping for his team, but I think we really haven't seen him deliver on the potential there.
No, the specific example of where that's true is I think he's trying to be way too cute with some of these substitute belly drum or dragon dance Komodo sets as opposed to just running soul plays.
Yeah, or, deep training skills. Because, no, that is soul play. Don't count those that finger soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, either one.
I mean,
really.
the most glaring issue in my mind is him not bringing soundproof against Nando, getting body fucked by Roar on the Komodo, then bringing soundproof, forgetting that he's soundproof, and stacking his entire team to tickle Swampert before bringing it in, only to lose the game anyways because he stacked his entire fucking team.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Really rough.
Yeah,
that
was
one
a
hurt to watch.
Very rough game.
And
Yeah.
Losing to Henry, I think, is really hurting his playoff chances even more.
If he loses to me week 6, he's actually just out of the playoffs. Can't make it because he's in the strong conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is not a lot of room for error in that conference.
I mean, especially when you're already 1-4, 1-5.
1-4 at -11.
Yeah.
It's the third lowest. No, second lowest differential of everyone.
Lower only than
Or
Higher only than
higher only than Evan.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up for Ben.
I agree.
Yeah.
So next up will be the Denver Dark Rise, Bobby Hahn.
I'll stay out of the way. At least for now.
Alright. So me and Bobby both ranked Bobby at 12. Well, Paisan ranked him at 14. So he comes out to an average of 12.
Yeah.
To be fair, Bobby has definitely seen the bad side of hacks this split. He should have beaten Ben week 1.
He should have
That's
beaten
for sure.
me week 4, week 3.
Week 3, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, which is unfortunate, definitely. But on the plus side, like he was saying for Mike's case, it also applies to him. He's in Rapid Division, where really it's still, I feel like, anyone's game, at least at this point. So I would not be surprised to see Bobby make a comeback, because he did start 0-3 last split too, and he ended up finishing 4th.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Bobby is really typically a slow burn. It takes him a while to get used to his team normally, but after he gets used to his team, holy fuck, does he start sweeping teams.
My loss against Zach last season was the first time I lost in the second half of the regular season in 2 years.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
that's
I
very
didn't
fucking
know that.
nice. Little data that you have there. I like that. I mean, I'll say this. I still think that Bobby's team on paper is one of the worst teams because goddamn those ice types.
Yeah, I don't like my team a ton.
But, I mean, I don't think it matters because his division is such a clusterfuck right now, especially considering, the winner of that division is Swan, who very much is a burnout type of player where he starts out really strong then falls off. And maybe the Mega Blow waiver will help out Swan to not burn out, but I think actually it's going to make them more bored as the season progresses, having to stall out. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Bobby can pull back a playoff run here.
It definitely will be interesting.
I think it'll depend on how Tyler plays in large part, because I think Tyler probably has the best team in that division, but he obviously has the smallest sample size regarding his skill, and we'll get to him more later.
Definitely true.
I think that's everything.
I think that's it for Bobby. Yeah.
Locking in at 11th, we kind of get another tier 1 player, Tyson.
Correct, Chad, baby.
Can't say it is the most stunning title defense so far.
Definitely not. Wow. Be that as it may, here we are anyway. Yeah, so let's see. Although Faison he's had not as bad as Bobby, but he's had some hacks turn against him.
Certainly his game against Alex was rough.
Yeah.
Losing his full axe.
I definitely have had a lot of hacks in my favor against Bobby and against Patty that really helped out my fucking differential. But yeah, I mean, I can't deny that it's been a very 50-50 season with hacks on my side.
And again, in the same boat as Henry, even though these are super weak power rankings, Tyson did just beat Danny like half an hour ago. So that definitely helps him out a lot in the wild card situation if he does end up making a playoff run. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Mega Ampharos, I'll be honest, but I don't know. Prove me wrong.
I will.
I mean, obviously sacrificing a really nice team niche to give up Mega Aerodactyl.
Yes, definitely. Although, Mega Aerodactyl doesn't get Dragon Dance yet, so there's also that.
Or Dual Wing.
Or Dual Wing Gator, that's also.
I don't think Tyson's team is as bad as my team is on paper, but I also don't think it's one of the better ones necessarily.
I think my team has a very fundamental flaw that I'm not going to reveal, but if you look hard enough, you can tell that there's something missing from my team that makes it very hard for me to close out games.
Yeah, good coach.
Wow. That's crazy.
Teriyama, isn't it?
Yeah, Teriyama.
Got him.
And you only know.
Oh, who did you brought Innovative Mienshao against Patrick?
I mean, it wasn't innovative Mienshao, but it was an innovative Mienshao.
Alright, well, I think that was a bad decision on your part.
Okay, so to be fair, let me explain my thought process when I got it, right? So Patty has psychic terrain, so I assumed that you wouldn't want to bring priority because, you know, psychic terrain. So I was like, oh, if I bring Salad Berry, Calm Mind, Stub, Mienshao, there's nothing that you can do to stop it. Because I'll be faster than everything on his team, I'll kill Alexander with HP Ghost, and everything else dies to an Order Spirit. And he brought Ice Shot on the weave off, so I was like, well, okay, understandable.
Isn't Superior faster than Mienshao? Yeah, no, I
yes.
suppose you have the barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that, I guess. I feel like Milotic could have also Dragon Tail you were hasty. So.
I think Melodic wasn't on his team that week. It was either not on his team or I'd already killed it by that point.
Alright.
So that's all I have on with me. I mean, I'm trash right now. Just give it like 3 weeks and we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll be seeing that one.
But next up, you know, speaking of the man himself, we have the Rodham Washington's Patrick Bruce at number 10.
I think this team has really underperformed.
Oh, absolutely. I rated this team as number 1. It was, in my opinion, the best team drafted. And, you know, it's very hard for me to understand how Alakazam and Lele is not winning the fucking worst conference in the game. No, it's not. It's worst division in the season right now. But I guess it's not.
Are you really gonna say that single division is worse than rapid division?
I'd say it's worse, but I'd say that Rapid is more of a shit show right now.
Alright, I suppose that's fair. Yeah, I guess on Patrick, he beat Python, he lost to Quinn, and he lost to Swan. He hasn't played Danny yet, so he can't.
D Alex, right?
He hasn't played Alex yet. I don't think.
No.
Oh no, because he hasn't done either of his conference matches. Fucking Patty, battle your fucking people.
Yeah, Patrick.
I want to talk about it more later because I do think Swan played well, but I also think that to be swept as easily as he was by Blacephalon really just. I think Patty's a better player than that. We're just not seeing it for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, Patty is pretty consistently a playoff contender, and the fact that he is 1 win or 2 wins?
One.
He's 1 win because he hasn't played 2 of his games. So the fact that he's 1 win into 3 games really doesn't show that he is a playoff contender, and I think that's just crazy because he has one of the craziest teams drafted in a long time.
Definitely agree with that.
I think that's all I have to say on Patty.
Yeah.
Likewise.
So number
9, I can't remember that.
Tyler. I just want to say, Tyler has been impressing me so much.
Definitely me also. Just speaking from my own experience, he's put in a lot of work into prep. He discusses his team with me every week. I've shadowed him for 3 out of his 4 battles. So definitely just nice to see him putting in work and that work paying off.
Yeah. Now, the one knock I will give is that we've yet to see him really beat an opponent above his weight class. I think he's building fairly well, and I think he has one of the better teams in the league in terms of what he drafted on paper. I haven't seen anything super out of the box, and not necessarily that you'd expect someone to do that right away. But I think that'll kind of be the next step for him.
I think that's a good assessment. Yeah.
I mean, for someone who has just joined the league and, to my knowledge, hasn't been playing too much Pokemon up until this point, I think it's so impressive that not only has he pulled out the wins that he has, because that win against Mike was such a fucking good use of Suicune, and as a Suicune advocate, I was just clapping the entire time I was selling out Toxapex.
That's true. I kind of blanked that game out of my memory just because how gross the endgame was.
Yeah, fucking.
It was.
But I will do that.
It was definitely ugly, but I think especially as someone who hasn't played a lot of competitive, it was impressive that he
Not only had the game knowledge, but knew how to get to that point to pull it off.
For sure.
Yes.
I mean, I'll say he's my next opponent, and I'm not particularly looking forward to that game. It's a game that I need to win, and I'm not sure I can.
Yeah.
I would say, must win for both sides.
I will say his game against Swan has been was probably one of the worst games of this split so far. And I don't know if that comes down to lack of game knowledge on the Blacephalon or just not being prepared enough or what it was, but even regardless despite that, I think that given more time, Tyler will only get better and better.
I agree.
Next up, speaking of Blacephalon, we have Sam Swanson and the Minnesota Vikings.
So coming off the Superweek, in those 2 games, Blacephalon went 10-0.
Yeah,
which is wild.
This is the first time we've seen Blacephalon do this much work since I think the first game was brought in. Which, I mean,
Zach actually fairly well last season, I'll say.
I would say I used it decently, but definitely not to this much effect in this short of a time.
And I've personally been one of the advocates for Blacephalon being one of the stronger OUAs because I think that while it lacks in versatility and creativity,
Isn't it OUB?
is it OUB?
It is OUB.
Yeah.
Who the fuck let it go down? I think that was Nando.
It's always been OUB.
It is definitely one of them.
And it is Nando, because Nando thinks it's bad, and it's not.
Oh no, Nando was the one who moved it down. I remember this now. But it lacks in versatility. You can't be creative with it. But when it does get the chance to pop off, there's almost nothing you can do to stop it.
So good at what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
ODB.
And one thing I'll add on that is I think that Flame Charge set in general is underused because you can come in and revenge kills. Even if your opponent switches out to avoid the revenge kill, you still get the +1 speed, and if you're Z Shadow Ball or Z Flamethrower like Swan was in the first week, you still have a decent chance of being able to kill whatever comes in. There are mons, but there's not a whole smorgasbord of things that can come in and eat whatever Blacephalon has.
The first week he was a check. No, a check. It was the one that if you click overheat, you switch out.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was the second week you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean,
Is that room service?
what room service?
The item?
No, that lowers your
No, that's the trick room.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, they've made so many good items this gen, but
Very true.
Swan's played well, but both of his wins were not impressive by any means. I want to see more. That's all I can say.
I'll also say that he should have beaten me, but he didn't.
With the
Misclicked and
misclick.
Yeah.
Well, he misclicked, but even before that, he was not playing particularly well in that game.
I think he was 6-4 at that point in the match.
That's true. Even in my game, I thought that I didn't do anything particularly special, and Swan still lost.
Yeah.
It was close.
It was a very close game. That was one of the better games of the season so far, in my opinion.
But again, being in that division, it's really anyone's to win at this point.
Game, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Everyone is 1-1 in the division so far, so whomever wins these two matchups this week will be in a very strong position, and if you lose, good luck.
Yeah. Because you have a lot of room to make up for. Moving on. So at number 8, wasn't it? 7? 7.
Yeah, 7.
We have Quinn, the mom, with his mudkip. I mean, I really like Quinn's team, and I think he's been doing well enough with it, but he needs to do a bit more to be pulling out wins in this division, because this is by far the hardest division.
Definitely agreed. I did think that his match against Patrick was one of the better matches. Of
Oh
the
no,
split,
absolutely.
for
I
sure.
was about to say that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And he played very well, and he had played very well. Maybe, I'm not necessarily going to say we didn't give Patrick enough credit, but Patrick didn't play poorly in that game.
No, he definitely. I wouldn't say he played poorly at all.
I thought he just played
played the end
really
game
well.
I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
After Melodic had died and he had nothing to resist Irascuda, it was definitely a hard situation to come back from. But I thought he did pretty well, given that. Yeah.
And again, this is a person who's played his Week 5 match and won against Dan.
Yeah.
Which will probably be a lot more important for the wild
was
card than for the
massive.
division.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Because that puts Quinn in the second wild card spot for 10 points over Dan.
And obviously, of course, a win over Dan for the wild card is very big, because when it comes down to head-to-head and differential, he's going to be holding that slight edge, and that is really all you need.
Now that being said, he'll play Dan again later in the season.
And that will really decide not only who might take the conference from Seiko, but also who will make it into playoffs with the wildcard spot, because it's going to be very hard to beat out either Zach or Nando for a wildcard at this point.
Agreed. And we'll get to that further, but I don't really see either of them winning that division. They're playing.
I also agree with that. Do Quinn and Nando play?
They do not, because Queen's a tier 2 and Nando's a tier 3.
Okay. Interesting. I would have liked to see that.
Quinn and Nando are always fun.
That is a fun match, but if we get that in playoffs, well, yeah, could you imagine if we get that in playoffs if Nando wins your guys' division and then Quinn gets the wild card? I'm back in quarterfinals. That'd be a hell of a matchup.
I'd love to see it.
If we get that matchup, though, we know Nando's going to hex by now.
Yeah, because that happens every single time.
Yeah, that's true.
I think every single time it's been with Red Guys Thunderwave too.
Yeah. The top end of Queen's team is just wild. Mega Metagross and Lando I.
Yeah.
Really good offensive.
And Funny I, too, for that matter. Lando, Funny T, rather.
It's funny to yeah. And then obviously, of course, Umbreon being the fat piece of shit that it is, just kind of sits there.
Beans, bread, and butter.
Yeah.
It is. I also am a big fan of Bears.
He's been using Bearskewda to a very, good effects. I think better than anyone else has managed to bring out.
Having 3 Pokemon that I just mentioned that hit as hard as they do really helps Barraskewda, because then it doesn't necessarily have to worry about being twice banded and hitting things really hard. It can come in and just clean up in the late game.
And also, of course, we have to mention that it getting flip turn is a very fucking good boost.
He has Mimikyu too, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's Mimikyu plays is anything special. Obviously, the game with Patrick is the biggest misplay of it because he just brought it in on triple axle and died.
Yeah, that's true. Although I was not expecting triple axle until I saw it, so I can't say I probably would have made that play too.
I mean, if I was Patrick, though, I would definitely have brought triple axle if I was heading into.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have on the game.
What did he waiver again? He dropped Sharpedo and acquired Vortex.
He got
which I will
Vortex.
say, I'm
Wow.
a huge fan of.
That's a very good defensive buff to his team.
Especially given Sharpedo's pretty redundant, given that he has Barraskewda.
Very true.
And since Gorilla is Super is such a good defensive wall, he can afford to run Umbreon special defensive and just wish that up and die.
Exactly.
That's very nice.
Yeah. What are we to number 6 now?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, at number 6, we have Danny and the Buffalo Bee Sharks.
He was right. He's not a tier 4, boys. Good shit, Danny.
That's right. I know that.
A little bit hard to gauge because he played Patrick in their second Superweek game.
Yeah.
And so having a smaller sample size for him also makes it a little bit tougher to gauge.
Especially considering we don't consider it in this one, but we do have to somewhat consider the fact that he did just lose to me, and that makes his division chances a little bit harder if he loses to Patrick. Because I think that we lost in the division first.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Did he beat Alex?
That would be. He did not beat out.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So
Did he? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did
I'm
either.
pretty sure that.
I'm pretty sure Alex is undefeated in the division right now.
We beat Alex? We should check this.
Yes, two. I should check this.
We'll check that when we get to Alex.
Yeah.
Also on for Danny, I would say I definitely like his team a lot. Mew is just so good now that everything is a team RTR.
Yeah, having Dragon Dance on Mew as an option is so nice.
Yes, that's definitely true.
Tapu Koko is also very good.
Kangaskhan is very scary. Lumbermall Amanda is probably the best defensive core right now in the league, outside of Umbreon Vortex, which just got created.
My team really is bad compared to a lot of these.
Big fan of Baby Caesar as well.
Yeah. Small Eugene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Danny has all the tools to be in the top 5, and he's just barely missing out on that. And I don't think that it's necessarily because Danny is playing poorly. I think that for the most part, things he's playing pretty well in most of his matches. I just think that because he is losing most of his division matches, it's going to be very hard for him to make it into the wild card at this point.
Now that said, if he beats Patrick here in this game, that would be a really big boon for him.
It'll be a godsend for him because that keeps him in the division.
Well, that too.
And if he's still in the division, because again, single division is a fucking shit show, so if he's still in that division, then there's definitely a chance for him to clutch it out. All he has to do is win 2 games. But that's all I have on Danny.
Yeah.
So moving forward, that's number 5.
Number 5.
Wisconsin Weavile, Alex. So I just checked. Alex won 4-0 against Danny. 4-0.
His only loss was to Dan in the first week of the split. Otherwise, he's been on a roll.
Yeah, I shit on him a lot in that game for not bringing hazard control against Ravambi. And let it be known, he has learned from that mistake and he has not lost a single game since, I believe.
That's true. He has one of the best Firewater grass courses I've ever seen.
It's a Cinderace.
Dracovish and Zarude.
I don't know about the Zarude.
Maybe not the Zarude, but Dracovish Cinderace.
It's very strong.
Dracovish Cinderace is definitely good. He also stole Dracovish fast. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot
I
of
think that's-
picks
yeah.
that just went so late, like Mega Alakazam Lele.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Mega Alakazam went in the first round.
Yeah, I know. Lele went in the second round.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, what is there to really say about Alex? Because, like, yeah, he's been playing well. Yeah, he's top of this division right now. But
He's
he
the
hasn't,
person in this conference with a winning record.
yeah, but he hasn't done anything special. Is the problem? It's just everyone else in this conference is fucking shit, myself included. So, like, I want to say, oh yeah, Alex has been playing well. But am I saying that because he's actually been playing well, or is it because he's a tier 3 who has been winning where the rest of his conference is losing? I don't know.
Well, he'll
I
play
like
Patrick in week 5, and we'll get to see. That'll shed some more light, I think, onto whether he's a contender or a pretender.
Contender or pretender, I don't know.
That's definitely a game to look forward to. I will say though, he definitely, I think he's, as far as his playing goes, he's been on the upswing because he played very well in the Chroma split.
That's true. I forgot that
You
he
know,
won that, didn't
a
he?
lot of people have that.
Oh, no, you
no,
won.
I won that.
He lost in the finals.
Yeah.
But he went undefeated in that. I think he was 5-0.
Oh, wow.
And he was the only person to not lose a game. So
That's very
I'd say that's definitely something to consider. Yeah.
I'm definitely rooting for Alex. It's just, not too much considering I need to win my division. I think that's everything on him. So, moving forward, at number 4, 5.
Number 4.
Yeah, I don't know how to count, sorry.
I mean, I majored in math, and I don't know how to count, so.
Number 4.
English, so definitely not.
I'm majoring in computer science specifically, so I wouldn't have to do math. So, there you go. Number 4, we have Zach.
That's number 4.
Also sit out of this one. But besides saying that I should have lost to Swan, which I already said. But anyway.
Zach is Smitty, Warden, Jaegerman, Benson. He should be number 1. He's just slightly missing that edge, and I think part of that comes down to that game against Mando.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did lose pretty solidly to Mando in our week 5 match.
Oh, that was fine. Okay,
Yeah.
so not really considering this one, but that does definitely affect future performances. I don't know, because I definitely think that Zach has one of the better teams, and he's been playing spectacularly. Like, yes, all the Rain teams have made playoffs, but all of them made it because of Carluccio. Rain has not been the thing that has been performing well, and Zach has a bona fide Rain team. It's been beautiful to watch every single week, even if he's not being in. I think especially to consider is your gaming of the stat in week 2.
I definitely think that was my best game of the split.
That's really the only game where it's been close, and I think it's good team building's kind of failed. I think that Muck set's probably one of the better, more creative sets that we've seen this season that's actually worked.
Yeah, it's innovative and more crazy. Yeah, I mean, going forward, I just want to see more of that, and I don't know. I think that Zach's in a prime position to not only win his conference, if he can get a conference division, if he can pull out against Nando in the second batch of their division, but also if he doesn't, have a fine spot at the wild card if he just keeps playing well.
Yeah, I mean, you can say what you will about being dominant, but wins are wins, and being 4-1 from midway point is nobody's gonna frown upon that.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving forward, we have
Vince Manning,
3, and it's Dan, who
Jake Neves.
just fucking lost. But we're not going to talk about that yet. So Dan has played very well, and when I said Patrick has the best team, Dan is the only contender in my mind for the second best team. Because God bless that defensive core, Beanie and Heatran and Venusaur is just so strong. That is what I would consider a good fight a lot of grass for, by the way.
I would
On
agree with
defense,
that.
yeah.
Hey, do you think I play defense?
I suppose not. But I don't know. Dan's been playing extremely well, and the Quagsire that he brought against, was that Evan?
What?
It was
That Quagsire.
I don't even know what the set was. I think it was just a regular Quagsire. Oh no, it was Curse, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember who lost to it. I think it was either Evan or Henry. He got absolutely demolished by it. And I said this in my power rankings, and Dan said it in his own power rankings in prior weeks, but he's very dominant in early weeks and then tends to drop off as his interest wanes, kind of like Swan. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can secure enough wins before he starts falling off, if he even does start falling off, because, you know, he's been playing very well so far, and I'd love to see that continue.
Definitely true. For sure, one of his better splits he's played in a long time. So hopefully that will help motivate him and not fall off his game.
Anything to add, Bobby?
No, I think you guys hit it on the nail.
I kind of talked a lot, sorry. So moving forward, number 2, the first part of the Fabio duo, you have Nando in the Shanghai Sharpedos.
Yep. Nando basically tried to toss against Mike and still won.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how his season's been going.
That's true. He also put in very minimal effort in his game against Henry, I know, but due to Henry just kind of choking that game away, he came away with the 6-0. So he definitely started off very strong. Wavered a little bit in his 4th week in that close loss to Dan, but then came right back to beat me right when he needed to stay at the top of his division. So I'd say he's definitely in a really strong spot to make the second seed of Crown Conference.
He might even fare better because, given that he's dropped down to Tier 3 this season, he doesn't have to play Quinn or Tickle.
Very true. Yeah.
It's also very helpful that he got a 6-0 against Henry, which his differential is just beaming right now.
Yeah.
That's true too. Now, the only thing I will say is that given how simple his wash, rinse, repeat strategy has been,
Yeah.
which was his plan going into the season, that is obviously going to wreak havoc on less experienced players, but once he has to play Tickle and Quinn or Dan
In the playoffs.
in playoffs, might not fare as well, especially given many of them have some bulkier teams.
Also true.
I mean, his win against Ben was definitely impressive, but Ben has kind of just been doing the same shit that Nana's been doing, but worse. So he's been doing it with more steps because he has the ninja. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see more variation, but I know I won't, and I know it won't matter. So,
I'm not sure it would be helpful given how he builds his team.
that's fair.
That's true. He also still just plays very well, even with the minimal variation.
That is true. He's not thrown a game, is what I would say. Like, all of his losses have been, well, all one of his losses have been.
He tried and he still couldn't throw it.
Yeah, he definitely tried.
But taking the top spot as our only undefeated team is Tickle and the Lake Spirits. This team with Duntria and Celesteela is very similar to a team he drafted a couple years ago.
That was what he won, right?
No, that was the first time that he didn't make playoffs.
Oh.
It was the split before he won his first championship. And the difference was he got hit with the kitchen sink in terms of tax and bad luck this season. Or that season, rather. But this season has been pretty smooth sailing. Not that he's played super stiff competition so far, but when you're averaging a 4-0 victory through this many games, that's a good sign.
I mean, he did win against Quinn.
He definitely beat Quinn and Dan, who are both doing very solidly this split.
That's true,
So I would say
actually.
he's got a pretty solid record to show.
Ben, on the other hand, has not been super hot. So.
Yes.
I mean, I've gone on record saying that this is the conference to watch and Tickle is the man to beat. And I mean, Tickle has continued to prove that by being undefeated up until the day we recorded this. So we'll see if that continues. I mean, the last time that he did this while starting out a split, he proceeded to go undefeated throughout the entire split and won the split. So
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say that this team is as good as that team because that team was an OU team, basically.
yeah, agreed.
But this team is obviously centered around Celesteela and has all the right support. It has Dougie to take out whatever's scary, and it has Galvantula to slow everything back down.
Walk-around to fucking sweep.
That too.
I mean, the only problem that I have with this team is that he drafted Swampert and Mega Heracross instead of Torkoal and, not Torkoal, Venusaur and Zardwai, sorry, or Mega, I don't know either.
That would have been good. Yeah, I agree.
Zardwai would be really scary on this team.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, I do really like the potential with Mega Heracross and Superweek.
That is true, but he hasn't used it, is my problem.
That's true. That's true.
And what good is potential if it's untapped?
Now, he might have some ideas in his back pocket that he simply hasn't had bust out yet.
That's true.
That's a very real possibility, especially given how well he's played so far. Like, I don't think he's going to run anything fancy against Evan. I think he's going to run standard everything and win handily.
Yeah.
The way the two of them are playing.
I mean, he did it against me, and Jesus Christ, was I not prepared for it. So, you know, I can't see Evan being any more prepared for it. But, you know, Evan could surprise us. It's definitely happened before. All I can hope for is that Tickle continues playing as well as he has, win or loss, because it's been a joy to see him battle week after week.
Definitely would not be a joy to see him win a 4th championship, though.
Not too well. Don't battle too well.
Yeah.
You know, I am really looking forward to playoffs at this point because I have no idea, and neither do you two, who's going to emerge from the Crown Conference.
I don't either. It is going to be
yeah.
stiff competition, that's for
Well,
sure.
I'll say wait, we're the ARM Conference, Tyson?
We're the only conference.
Yeah, so the ARM Conference, nobody knows what anyone's going to do because nobody's
doing well.
on the other side, we have a pretty good idea at least 3 of the 4 teams are going to be, and those are going to be some really, really look forward to playoff matches.
Especially the fact that right now, at least from what we've seen so far, that the 2 teams that are really duking it out for the wild card are Quinn and Dan. And having seen their last game, it was a bit of a shit show, but at the very least, it was a very entertaining match to watch, and I can only imagine that continues throughout the Crown Conference in the weeks.
Definitely a very fun game to watch.
So I'll end on a final note, touching on that point a little bit. So of the teams in the bottom half of these rankings, who do you think has the best chance to make a championship run?
Bottom half is in top 8?
As in 9 through 16.
Oh, okay. Best chance to make a championship run, not just playoffs?
No, not just playoffs.
Oh,
Best chance to A, get into playoffs, and then at least win a game in playoffs.
I'd have to look to make sure, but I'm gonna have to say myself. Preemptively.
Ooh, wow, that's kind of bold.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see, I was going to say, I could definitely see Espo making playoffs for sure. I don't know if he has the experience to make it all the way to the championship game, though. Otherwise, our options for the bottom 8, just as a quick reminder, are Evan, Mike, Henry, Ben, Bobby, Tyson, Patrick, and Espo.
Well, I mean, Bobby, you are a very good battler, so there's a very high chance that you can pull it off if you don't get hacked out anymore. I'd say Patrick has been playing decently enough to the point where he just picks up the pace a little bit and makes more aggressive plays. Because, again, he should have 6-0 me without Kazam in week 3, 4. Oh, yeah, he should have just 6-0 me straight up.
Yeah. I think given how good we think his team is and the fact that he still hasn't even played a 4th game yet, I think the obvious answer here is Patty. Now, someone that nobody's said is the person who's made finals the last 2 seasons is Swan. If he can keep together, he's as good a player as anyone.
Swan is ranked 8 though, so technically he's not.
Never mind.
He's not in the bottom 10.
Yeah.
I would say Swan definitely has a solid shot at making the playoffs.
Alright.
Swan, I think, because Swan is in the Armor Conference, I do think Swan right now is the foremost runner for who will make it into playoffs in that conference.
No, I would disagree. I would think Alex is the forerunner.
Alex is currently the forerunner, but I don't know if Alex will maintain his domination.
Now, this is a good point, and I meant to touch on this when you talked about Tyler's chances, is that with a team like Tickle or Nando, or even Uzak, if there was a newer player who was kind of just barely getting into playoffs, and then had to play Tickle in the quarterfinals, like, that's a really, really hard game. You're not going to have a juggernaut 1 seed come out of this conference that Tyler would have to face.
I guess that's true. That's a good point, Bobby. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's definitely true.
And that helps if Tyler makes playoffs, obviously, because he still has quite a few games to go that are going to be relatively close. You know, if the rest of the tier 4s and the tier 3s pick up their slack, it's going to be a very interesting Armor Conference watch.
Alright. This will elicit too much discussion, but list the 4 teams you think are going to make playoffs out of the Armor Conference.
Out of Armor?
Yeah. So
Myself.
I'll add to that, who wins the 2 divisions and then who are the 2 wild cards?
Okay, so I'd say Alex and Swan win the divisions. Me and Bobby make the wild cards. And the reason I say that is because time and time again have me and Bobby fought for 3 and 4 wild cards, and both of us have made it.
That is very true.
That's true.
History repeats itself.
I think Alex wins his division. I think Patty gets a wild card. I think Swan wins my division. Oh my god. I think Python gets a wild card.
You have way too much faith in me. I don't even have that kind of faith in me.
Would you expect me to have faith in myself?
Yes. Just bring your ice guys, my guy.
I think I'm also gonna say Alex and Swan for their respective divisions. As far as the wild card goes, it's so hard to say, really. Like, it's just such a crapshoot.
That's why this is a fun question.
That is why this is a fun question, though. You're right. I'm gonna say, man. All right, I'm gonna say I don't really see Patrick making one unless he gets a lot of motivation really quickly. I think that's been his problem the last couple of splits, is he just isn't really playing to win. He's playing more for fun, which is not a bad thing really, but you're not going to win the championship with that mindset. So I'm going to say I think, given Paison's win over Danny, I do think Paison is going to weasel his way into playoffs. Yeah, at least this one more time.
One more.
And I'm going to make a bold prediction that Espo is going to hang on and make the 4th seeded wild card of our conference.
No offense to yourself or Swan, Bobby, but if Espo makes playoffs, I would just love to see it, because it'd be so cool to see it. Sorry, wow, that was close. It would be so cool to see a noob make it into playoffs. It's been so long since we've seen a rookie player do so well, and I think the last time that we have seen that was with Jacob Hurst in like one of the first splits ever.
That is very true. Jacob did beat Ben Schluter in one playoff.
Yeah.
Alex made playoffs his debut season, I think, too, right?
I don't know if he made it to debut season, but I know he did it in the new split.
He definitely made it in another real split, though.
The season that Patty won his championship, I think that was Alex's first season, and he made playoffs that season.
I mean, I trust your memory more than mine, so if you say it's true.
It might not have been his first season. It might have been his second season.
Yeah. I mean, Alex has also been really good, but I don't know. Alex, I have notoriously described Alex as the noob destroyer, so we will see if he continues that.
And normally I agree with you about wanting noobs to succeed, but I'm not going to let it happen with me.
Fair enough. You're gonna fight for your champions.
Yeah, no, definitely to everyone in Armor Conference, like, you all still have a shot. like that's for sure. So
Are you saying that everyone in the Crown Conference has never saw it? What about Ben Schluter? What about Evan Schroeder?
is definitely close to out. Sorry, Ben, but
If Ben loses
He's
to me
gonna-
with 6, he is actually just out of playoffs.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
which would be surprising, considering I think Ben has made playoffs for at least the last 4 splits.
Ben's been the best regular season player over the last year and a half, I would say.
That's also very true. He's been looking really good in the regular season, which is why it's so surprising, I think, to see him
You're the dark
as
horse.
well.
Yeah,
Carson is the dark horse frequently.
the Dark Knight, if you will.
Not the hero we deserve.
And that is the power ranking. Go ahead and try to argue, but you're wrong because these are objective. Yeah.
Thanks
Good shit.
everyone for tuning in. Good luck.
Except for us.
God, I really hope these fucking work.
I'm always worried about
You don't
OBS.
hear any audio.